That's a hell of a fall from grace. 600 million market cap down to 3 today. There's a lot of missteps.
It was one when I started.
There was one when you
when
started.
it came in as one. We have a great story. We have a great project. The thing is, we've not got a story out there, and everyone still thinks of Miwah as the story, when really Sangihe is the story because it's near-term cash flow.
Hello and welcome to Crux Investor. First of all, thanks so much for watching this video. If you like it, please give us a thumbs up and do leave your comments below. It helps us to try and understand what you're thinking, what questions you want us to ask, and indeed what you think of the company. And if you haven't already done so, please click the button in the corner of the screen to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And of course, to see more videos like this, click the notification bell. We spoke today to Terry Filbert, who's the CEO of East Asia Minerals. They're TSX-V gold explorer with assets in Indonesia. They've got two. Sangihe is something that they want to focus on initially and get into a low level of production and ramp up to about 2,000 ounces a month. They're going to need to pay off 1.3 million in some costs and then spend about another 5 million getting it into production. So we talked through the details of that. And then the Miwah project, something which was the flagship asset of this company at once, 600 million market cap. It's fallen away obviously since then, sitting at 3 million today with no real focus on or ability to get that back into production. So we talked to Terry about what he hopes to be able to do with the company, how he's going to raise the capital to actually get things moving again, and what his plans are for this year. We talk about a lot of other different topics, so take a look in the description below. If anything that interests you in particular, click on the timestamp, that'll take you to that part of the video. In the meantime, let's hear what Terry had to say. Hi Terry, how are you, sir?
Matthew, doing great. How are you doing today? I hope you're being safe over there.
Totally responsible citizen right here. What about you? Whereabouts in the world are you?
I'm in Seattle today. I've been stuck here for about 30 days. They can't get up to my office in Vancouver even, so they won't let me cross the border.
Oh wow, okay. But you normally spend a lot of your time in Asia, don't you?
I'm usually in Indonesia for 2 months out, 2 months and then 1 month back.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
basically I'll move back, hopefully 1 month back, sometimes not that long.
Okay, well hopefully normality will return soon, but not sooner than it should. You're going to tell us today about East Asia Minerals, but why don't you kick off, give us a 1 minute story, and then we'll pick it up from there.
Well, East Asia Minerals was established in 2005. I came into this operation in 2017. During that time, it had a number of mining projects, one which basically sold, I think, for $80 million, was a uranium project in Mongolia. Most famous one was their Miwah project, which in 2011 gave this company a market cap of 600 million. Basically, due to some missteps by management at that time, it went down from there. I came into this company in 2017, as I said, and I came in with the project of Sangihe, which is one that's never really looked at. It was acquired by the company at the same time they acquired Miwah, because Miwah had gone such gangbusters, invested no money into it. I had a mining project 200 kilometers away from it on the same gold reef, knew the area really well, so that's how I became involved, is basically attracted through that project.
I mean, that's a hell of a fall from grace. 600 million market cap down to 3 today. There's a lot of missteps.
It was one when I started.
It was one when you started.
When it came, it was one.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're a 3 times guy. Okay. Let's get into this.
Well, no, we were 13 times at one time. I think we were up to about 25 million, but we had some bad players that came in, some promoters that helped me, get the funding in the beginning, but then decided they liked the company themselves, had a proxy battle, squashed the stock, and the people they brought in, they kind of squished, trying to take the company over. So we never got recovered from that.
Okay. There's a lot of parts here which are going to be new to people. So, for instance, Indonesia, which I'll come to in a second. Obviously, there's a lot of history to this thing in terms of it. It has been worth a lot of money. Can you tell us a little bit about why that fell off so quickly down to getting promoters in? What happened between 600 million and promoters helping pump it up?
Basically, from the story I know, again, I came in after. From the story I've learned from people inside the company and outside the company, for that fact, is basically they had been doing drilling. Mike Hawkins brought this project in. Mike was the CEO at the time. He brought the project in. The project was known to have protected forests, but they could still work in it to a certain extent before the Norwegians promised $2 billion to Sumatra province to stop burning down the forest. Then they changed the laws where they couldn't drill on it anymore. He had actually found a way to fix that, but then he became deathly ill and went back to Australia and he quit the company immediately. The gentleman who took over didn't like the deal. It was a deal cut with the governor. It had to do with carbon credits. There were carbon credits, and basically that next CEO squashed the deal, and so they didn't follow through. The government was quite pissed off about it. And this, you think, and also, but it could have been fixed. And this is 5 years ago. And then basically Tocqueville sent someone over back in 2015 to help with that, and he also basically worked out a deal to fix it. And again, the current management at that time, Ed Rochette, did not follow through, and so again, they lost the opportunity to take care of that issue.
Okay.
And so it's because it's been on suspension since 2014. So basically, it's nothing's happened to it since.
Okay, so we'll probably come back to that again because it's obviously still on the books, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Indonesia as a country, if I may.
So it's actually not on the books because for some accounting reasons, it had to be taken off the books, so it's been written off. But we still have $20 million in drilling data. We still have contacts with the Aceh government. So we're still very much basically, and we still have it as suspension. But as an for accounting reasons, I was told before I came in, they had to take it off the books.
Okay, so you're sitting on data which you're ascribing some value to, presumably. If you spent $20 million on drilling, that data must be valuable to someone.
$20 million now.
Right. Okay. Again, let's come back to that because I think that I kind of want to work my way down into the asset, if I may. But let's start with Indonesia because, again, my perception of Indonesia, having tried to do business there on a couple of occasions, it is red tape, a lot of red tape. We did not get deals done because we couldn't get certain licenses and permits. And again, I think you touched on one of the reasons why forestry license, for instance, being able to work there. So you've worked there for a long time. So can you tell me a little bit about it?
Well, you have to be on the ground. If you're just coming from outside and trying to be successful, very few are. You have to be there all the time. You have to the problems come up quick and fast and furious. And unless you understand what you're dealing with, you have to have a network to deal with problems. Problems aren't what they are pure. Most of the time, the pure problem is insurmountable, but they always have backdoors. They almost invent backdoors to give you a way to solve it. But you have to play on their terms. And most Westerners don't understand that. And so they get caught up in things and they bring in consultants, which basically take advantage of that. And so they make money, but they don't really solve the problem. So unless you're on the ground, I won't have an operation in Indonesia unless I'm there because it's a guaranteed way to lose money. You have to have a really solid team in place. You can do it then. We have a very solid team. Our head of our GM basically has been there for I guess 40 years, been mining for 40 years. He's more on the ASX side, but he's been doing gold and copper mining with a number of companies there. And he speaks fluent Bahasa. And actually, I used to come to him before he was my director to help me fix my problems on the ground. He's really good at the locals. But you have to be that good, basically, to get things done.
Okay.
If you're coming from outside, it doesn't work.
Well, that's a really interesting point. And again, for learnings for everyone, when you're looking at companies, because I've looked at, I've invested in offshore Indonesia for oil and gas, and we looked at trying to get a couple of projects done onshore, right? Recall. Having a local partner isn't enough because they don't necessarily have the skills. They're just a local partner, and it's a bit of paperwork. Right. But what you're saying to me, you want to be on the ground. You want your ops team to be on the ground to solve problems which are going to come up.
Finding good local partners in Indonesia are very, very difficult. Most of them basically are not helpful and tend to basically be the opposite. So I tend not to stay away from partners as much as possible. I look at bringing people in as consultants or as advisors. Once you give equity away, then usually they don't ever provide. If you have a large, equity partner, then that's different. But a lot of these are smaller partners that try to come in and basically, take advantage of the project. So it's best to basically have people that have, responsibilities very clear, what their deliverables are. When you say local partner, then there's really no deliverables.
Okay.
Basically, if they're supposed to, put money in, lots of times they find they don't, and you end up basically having other issues. So, again, we're a smaller operation. I mean, if we're a larger operation, but even if you look at those with, the Miwah and stuff like that, their partnerships have been equally as fraught. So you really can't, depend on your partners as much in Indonesia. You have to depend on yourself and building a good team. There's great people there. The people are excellent. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you can find really good people there, but it's like any place else. You got to qualify them, and you have to work with them a little bit, and you keep the best. You protect the best, and you get rid of the worst quickly.
Okay.
So the things I've got a good team that was doing mining for me in Rada Tuk, which was very close to Sangihe. And the idea was move that team over to Sangihe to do the same thing. And we had heap leach operation there. Sangihe is going to do the same thing.
Okay, and so there is a mining industry there, clearly.
Very large, yes, especially North Malaysia.
Absolutely, some very big names, some billions of dollars. So it's possible, but you did hint there that even for the big guys, it can be difficult. So your overall impression of Indonesia is, you need to be boots on the ground, be connected, to be able to get things done.
Yes,
that's what I'm hearing. Okay.
I mean, I looked at a mine in Nevada. Okay, they told me it could take 5 years for me to get my license. In Indonesia, I could do it in a year if we didn't have all these. I would have had the license done in 1 year if we hadn't had all these delays in funding. So basically, again, if you know what to do and you've had the right people, you get things done very quickly there. Right. But basically, and here, you really can't really take shortcuts in the United States compared to Indonesia or some of the Southeast Asian countries.
Okay, and what's your background? Why are you involved?
My background is I did startup to Silicon Valley back in the 90s. Then I ended up at the largest headhunting company, IT headhunting company in Hong Kong for about 10 years in Hong Kong. And then basically had a very large import-export company in China, which exported building materials to Australia mostly. And then I got involved in exporting timber from Indonesia to Australia. And then they basically asked me to sell coal into China, which I did. I bought some coal mines in Indonesia. And then I found coal was going to be dangerous, so I got into gold.
Right.
And so I'm kind of a surfer on a surfboard looking for the next wave.
Right, okay.
I'm a chronic entrepreneur.
Right, and I'm an investor trying to work out what team I'm backing. So I need to work out. So you're an ops guy, is what I'm hearing. Ops. Who are the guys who are actually looking at this geologically, technically, and evaluating what it is that you've got?
Okay, Frank Roca is our qualified person, our chief geologist. He was the one that did the drilling in 2013 on Sangihe. He has a really good understanding of Sangihe. He also knows a little bit about Miwah. Basically, he used to work for Barrick for around 8 years. He's been a geologist for about 35 years, 25 years internationally. Basically, he's been working in Chile. So he's worked in South America, Indonesia, the parts of Southeast Asia and Africa. So basically, he has been with the company since 2012, I believe. When I came in, he wasn't with the company. I brought him back. He has a really good understanding of the area. He's actually, when I first looked at this project, I only looked at a 58,000 ounce pit at surface for myself. That's what I wanted. I was buying this for myself. I mean, to me, that was great. 58,000, it's oxides at surface. So basically, it's inexpensive to get going on. It's inexpensive to process. I could do 1,000 ounces a month within probably 6 months. And at that time, that was $700,000 a month free cash flow. And for a single guy, it's not a bad thing. So I thought that was probably, a really good deal. But then we having some issues, after trying to buy it with the management of East Asia. I went to meet with a gentleman named John Hathaway, who suggested I should take over the whole company, which, not having ever been a public company guy, or I'm not a promoter. I'm an operator. I like being on the ground. I like being in the hole. I love holding the gold. Once you get into gold, I don't think it's going back. That and heroin, they're two of the most addictive things in the world. So basically, it's been a really good trip. But when Hathaway suggested I take over the public company, I really had no idea what I'd get myself into. I didn't really understand how the public markets worked. I made some mistakes, and I'm trying to correct those now. I've been trying to raise the money I usually raise through private entities such as in Asia. I had money out of China lined up several times, but China's had its own issues the last couple of years. It's been made more difficult. And also gold has been really difficult to raise money for, gold mining. So over the last 6 months, we're all seeing gold's finally taken off.
Okay, so let's get into some of those things though. So let me understand some of the names involved, because obviously Tocqueville and John Hathaway, now it's Sprott. So Sprott's involved in here. I know they're 13-14% shareholder in this thing. Okay, who are the other names you would recognize in here?
Well, basically, Hathaway is probably the main one. I've not, like I said, I've not gone out and looked for institutionals. I've not basically been, I've just brought a gentleman named Jarrett Wong in to basically run my IR and also run my funding. He basically was recommended by some of my chief shareholders. So we're just starting to basically work on building our public entity. This is basically beautiful blonde in the dark. Okay, we have a great story. We have a great project. The thing is, we've not got a story out there, and everyone still thinks of Miwah as the story, when really Sangihe is the story, because it's near-term cash flow. We have two great assets. First, the short pitch is we have two great assets with 3.3 million ounces. Basically, we have one could be into, and with 200,000 of those ounces could be in production within 6 months once we break ground. So near-term cash flow at 1,000 ounces a month within 9 months. We have 2,000 ounces a month within probably around, I would say probably around 6 months after that. There's basically expanding, heap leach. So it's we can, and as we drill, we can also drill that property out to well over 1 million ounces. So basically, so that's near term. That's what we can do right away and put that on the bottom line. Then we have Miwah. We can go in, and that is fixable. Basically, everything is there. The actual government's been very interested in getting it back up and running, but they want someone that's going to basically keep investing money. We were the only ones that proved that we would do that, and so they're still quite interested in basically pursuing that.
Okay, so let's continue along the line of the quick pitch, because I don't mind that. So you can get up to 2,000 ounces a month in, we'll say 9. So you're saying what, 15 months time? Let's say 18 months. Okay, yeah. And you're asking for how much?
Once you break ground.
Once you break ground, of course. How much money are you trying to raise?
Right now, we're trying to move the license board. We have basically really one public meeting we have to hold, and then the licenses basically can be listed once we paid our taxes. So we're basically raising money right now to move the license board to 300,000. We're raising 300,000 now to move the license forward on the meeting, and then basically we'll do another funding after that once we can get the share price up to basically raise money for the taxes, and then we have our license, and the license is good for 30 years.
Right, and so what's that total? 300,000 plus what for the?
Plus million, about 1.3 million.
1.3 million kind of clears the DAX, and then you got to raise some money to actually.
We need around 5 million, and we can basically be in production.
5 million all in, including your 1.3.
Yes.
Okay, and that.
You can't 5 million. 5 million on top of the 1.3.
Okay, so 6.3 million bucks going to get you into a point where you can get into production at 1,000 ounces a month for 9 months. Then you get up to 2,000 shortly thereafter. Right. And the model that you're employing, the thought process that you got here is, if I can get into early production with this near surface oxide ore body, I can generate enough cash to develop a phase 2 plan. That's? We
should be able to generate about 1,000 ounces a month. We should be able to generate about $1 million free cash flow. Okay, the drilling program we're looking at to drill out this area where I think we can get about 1 million ounces out is about 35,000 meters. It's not hard rock, so we don't need to use diamond drill. We use RC rigs, and there's not very deep. It's all the surface. Basically, the deepest hole is maybe 180 meters, average 150, and we're talking basically around 120 days, 2 RC rigs that can drill out the project.
Okay, so you get to that stage, and what does that do? I mean, I'm trying to work out what this thing looks like, because it's always going to be a perpetual small operation.
Basically what it looks like is in let's say 2 years from now, we have hopefully 1 million ounces, and half of those being oxides, basically sitting in Sangihe on the books. We also have let's say 2,000 ounces a month. and we're putting some of that money we're getting in as free cash flow after we finish the drilling into Miwah to basically get Miwah back up and running. And there's actually a lot of other projects in Indonesia also available. I've looked at some projects down in Ecuador, but I don't know if I want two countries at the same risk as basically I have right now. But basically we expand in a number of ways, but Miwah would be a big enough expansion, I think, for the time being.
Right. So I'm just interested in how do we get from A to B to C to D, etc. So let's not talk about Ecuador. Let's talk about project number one. You're talking about how you get with 6.3 million bucks, you get into production, and then thereafter that project does not need any additional cash from you. You will develop it out with the cash it produces.
Correct. Once we have the cash flow there, we'll pay for the drilling project. We'll also basically we'll also get a production plant, but we do that on a lease. So the project, the only extra piece we do there is basically the production plant, which will be probably around a $4 million plant, and that'll be done on a lease or financing. And then once I'm pouring gold, then basically it's fairly simple to do that. And then after that, we'll basically use that free cash flow for the drilling. And once the drilling completed, we'll basically be able to expand. We can expand the production above 2,000 ounces a month once we have the drilling completed, because we'll have the material there then. And then also there's another 24,000 hectares below us, which are also gold bearing, which is part of it. We have illegals across the entire area, and they're taking gold out at about 5 kilos a month. I know that because the average illegal tries to get about artisanal. They try to take out about an ounce a month. So I just need to count how many I got there, and we're losing probably about 5 kilos. But they're using wheelbarrows, picks and shovels, and they're down in the south of our project, which there's a river called the Tory River, and that there they can process. They can't really process where we're at because there's no water. We have to drill for the water, and we were down the hydros there, so we know that we have the water we need, but they can't do it. Okay,
so sticking with project number one, we'll come on to Miwah later. Is you've got to reinvest your money. So, and I'm trying to get a sense of how much data you've got, how much conventional reporting you're going to have to produce to understand what it is that you've got, or is it just a case of we're going to start drilling and build this resource out, and we're not going to be that conventional about it because we're producing cash?
No, we have a 43-101 from 2010 on Sangihe, which basically shows between the two ore bodies there's 835,000 inferred ounces. They never did the infill drilling. We bring that up into indicated and measured. This and from what Frank has told us, this anomaly goes on another kilometer to the coast, but they had no drilling holes there. So the first part where the 825-35 is, we know we'll bring a lot on. And we're expecting that if Frank's right, this anomaly does go to the coast, we'll bring a lot more on from that too. It should be double what we have right now that I already identified. So yeah, there is some turkey shooting going on there, but it's basically informed turkey shooting. And it's already based on another report that just show that there is a resource there.
Right. Okay. But again, I'm just trying to understand it, because there's a lot of history to this, and it's slightly unconventional. Sure. But I do like the business model of getting into cash flow quicker. So I'm wondering, what are the other things that you need to have in place during this period of building it out with your 6.3 million bucks in terms of additional licenses, permits, equipment? And you've told me about obviously you can lease some of it, getting workers to site. I mean, how much more does this involve? Because you're making it sound quite simple.
Well, basically, because I guess I've worked there and I kind of on the project all the time. The license, once we get these last two issues done, we have the license for 30 years. The permitting is finished. Right. There's no additional permitting needed. It's called a contract of works. Right. Contract of works is the license that was issued up to 2005. They are very unique because only 90 were issued, and you have actually contract with the government. So it's not a current licensing is just basically you're given a license, to mine before you had a contract to mine. It's a very large difference. So we have that for 30 years. I have the people ready. I've had the people ready for 3 years. There's some of the guys that are working on other projects now, but they're waiting for me to get started back up so they can come back and work for us. The equipment, most equipment is available on the island. This island, we're in Sangihe, is actually an island off of North Sulawesi, about 200 kilometers. There's a daily flight that goes onto it. It's got better infrastructure than I had before in my old mine around Tuk Tuk. I got paved roads. I've got a power grid. I have cell service. I didn't have any of those things around a Tuk Tuk. So basically, it's quite a luxurious place to mine, for me.
Right.
Also, there is a large mining community on Sangihe. A lot of these guys go mining into North Sulawesi because there are quite a few mines in North Sulawesi. So a lot of these guys will be glad to come back and work from home. Go home that means I don't have a canteen, don't need to have barracks because most people are going to live there. So it's actually it's a very convenient place to mine compared to a lot of areas you'll find in Indonesia.
Okay, so you said to me you're not a promoter, which I like, but you're also not a markets guy. So how do you, with this first project, show value? Because you're plowing your money back in the ground for quite a while. So what are the moments for you that you think the market should react to in terms of saying, this guy's got something with this first project?
Well, I think once we were into cash flow, and basically we're showing that we can bring in $1 million free cash flow every month. Some of that will be going in back in the ground, but not all of it. I mean, basically, even if I wanted to, I couldn't throw it all back in the ground that fast. So there will basically be, a really good, we'll be building up cash really quickly at that time. Again, to use for other projects, and we'll invest that, in the way that is needed. But, I think once the market sees we have that free cash flow and they do evaluation on it, the share right now is nothing. It'll go up by, by a number of, a factor of quite a few.
Okay, so that's Sangihe. Let's talk about Miwah, okay, because you've got a lot of data there. It's not on the books, but you obviously are able to resurrect that in some way. So first of all, let's talk about how do you resurrect that given it's not on the books? I mean, who technically owns it right now?
Basically, resurrect two ways. One, basically, we have, like I said, we have the data. We have the, again, how it came off the books, I was told basically something to do with the TSX. After a certain period of time, you have to do something, and they took it off the books. This is long before I got there, so I don't know why it's not on the books. But but on the ground in Indonesia, we have the project suspension, the last thing ever done with it. Suspension means it's what it says, it's suspended. I mean, basically, the problem is also the company's paid no taxes or fees or filed the reports for 6 years. 3 years before I got there, the last 3 years we haven't bothered either. Basically, because we weren't even sure for the first year what the status was. But so that doesn't put you in a strong position. But we have to catch all that up. I also have a plan to restructure it. So we get it back up. We have to restructure it and get rid of the protected forest. All that basically is very costly, and it can be done. We were talking to several financial partners who may be coming in that might be able to help us with that. But we won't. That's not going to be my first choice for my cash. I'd rather have the company to be certain. I mean, even with that one pit of 60,000 ounces or 58,000 ounces, we got $90 million, or now I guess $100 million sitting there. That'll keep the company going for quite a while. That money can be invested in a number of ways, including expanding the mine there in Sangihe to basically to bring in a great deal of value for the shareholders. Miwah is the icing on the cake. I mean, Miwah is the thing everyone talks about because it does have millions of ounces still not drilled out. It was stopped not even midway. They drilled maybe out 30% of it before they had to stop. So it is an exciting story, I agree, but the whole thing is, being an operator, I'm always looking at how is the cash. Basically, I see the juniors going bankrupt, trying to basically get that that dream, and I'm not a very high proponent of bankruptcy. So I do like to basically see the cash in the bank. I like seeing the cash going through the accounts. I like paying the people. I like getting paid myself. But at the same time, Miwah is definitely something to run after. And we are in the strongest position of anybody out there to do it. Okay,
so let's come back to Sangihe then. Obviously, Sprot's a shareholder, 13-14%. What's the history of why they're sitting on 13 to 14%? Because presumably, was that something to do with originally financing at Miwah, or they haven't come in recently?
Before I came, they sunk a lot of money in this company when it was at $600 million. Yeah. They put more money in. It had an issue back in 2015. They had very large holding when I came in. We've been raising money. When I said this one promoter came in, we raised $3 million to basically we had to catch up on all the debts. We had to basically pay off the last management to get rid of them, and basically and then try to rebuild the company in Indonesia. So that's diluted them down from 40% down. I think now they're fully diluted with their warrants are probably 23%. So
Okay.
basically, or 22%.
Is that right?
And they're basically, they have told us from the beginning that until they get to below 20%, they can't put more money into this. They have something, as they're a fund, they've got some kind of waiver evidently that doesn't allow them to invest until they're below that.
Okay, so then obviously this is via Tocqueville Gold Fund originally, which is now part of Sprott.
Right.
Okay, so I guess that answers my next question, which is why they're not putting money in now, because you could go. There's nothing for them.
They've been very well. It's actually John Hathaway wasn't looking at this at all. I mean, until I came and spoke to him that. And we were gonna have to sue the company. We were gonna do that, and he suggested I take over. Why don't you take over the whole company? And basically offered their shares. Even they said we could buy all the shares if I wanted. But the promoter that I was working with suggested we keep them in, so I followed the promoter. We're partners. So, but they've been very supportive. They have someone that I talk to pretty much every week, and they've been very helpful in a lot of ways behind the scenes. So I can't say I'm disappointed with they have their regulations they have to follow. So, but what they can help, what they have. So John Hathaway has been support for something that doesn't even register on their books. He's been very supportive.
And I get that they're trying to recoup an investment which hasn't gone well for them, from whenever the money went in. So they can't put money into this, is what you're saying. Is that what you just said?
That's what I've been told. I've been told that basically, until they're below 20%, they really don't have an option to put money in.
Okay.
Fully diluted 20%.
Okay, so that doesn't sound like it's happening. So, but that's fine. So they're being supportive in other ways. It's a great organization to be associated with. But at the same time, they've got a lot of bets. But saying that at the same time, they've got a lot of bets on a lot of companies. And if you can fix this for them, I'm sure I'll be delighted. That you can do that. But so where are you going to go and get this money from? Are you going to go local, Indonesia? Are you going to stick with Asia? You've got someone helping you in the IR front there. Where are you looking?
Well, we're doing. I've not used the public company because I didn't understand it very well. So now I've brought someone on to basically fully implement the public side, and so getting our name out there again, trying to correct the perception that this is the play Sangihe, not Miwah right now, and basically what that means. So it's basically trying to get out there with the actual story, which I think is actually more exciting. Miwah is a great story, but it's years to go, and it's a lot. You can spend a lot of money, hundreds of millions of dollars, to get that to where it's in production. Then you're probably maybe talking 10 million ounces. But right now, you probably have several million ounces basically with Sangihe in the near term. And so basically, so trying to correct that perception and so we're using the public space to raise hopefully 1.3. I am in discussions with a company in Japan and companies also in the U.S. on some royalties, so possibly for the construction. So we are looking at other ways we could be more non-dilutive on the next rounds. But again, it's open. We haven't closed anything yet, but we are in discussions.
Has been public helpful, or would it be easier if you were private?
Unfortunately, I've gotten away. I can't go back. I kind of wish I'd stayed private myself. It's been a learning experience, without a doubt. It looked more simple running a public company than I thought. I've made mistakes, which I believe that delayed funding, and that's delayed getting the project moving. I should have been in production last year, but now basically I believe I brought the right. Again, it's all people. I didn't really have people that really could. That's why I decided I better invest in people that can make this happen and educate me. And I don't really want to be educated anymore. I want someone that knows how to do it. So, and that's why I brought this gentleman in. He's got a great track record. He's raised millions and millions of dollars, basically for resource companies. He knows, he's got a great book. So, I'm putting myself in his hands and following his lead. I pretty much know I don't know how to do it. So basically, but we have a great. It's a public company. I'm trying to convert all of my debt into shares. I believe the share price is going to be far above what it is right now. And I've been keeping the company afloat with my own money, so I've been keeping throwing cash in there. I believe it. I mean, I know the asset. I mean, I wished I had the whole blend asset. But basically, it's a fabulous asset, and it still gives me a heart on at night. But basically, we have to deal with reality. We're a public company. And this gentleman is going to get us to that. I think that the place where we'll be very successful and very highly rated public company.
Well, with gold at 1725, it's becoming more attractive every day, I guess. So, Terry,
It's helpful.
It's very helpful. It's very helpful. Terry, I wish you well with that one. It feels like a family office should be talking to you about funding you. So keep telling that story. I wish you well. Gold's definitely heading the right way for you. And stay in touch. Let us know how you get on.
I appreciate it, and basically, thank you very much for the opportunity to tell my story.